Yeah. Okay,
Welcome,
it's all good.
Welcome
no
to
wrong answers.
Another episode of 420 My Dudes. We are honored to have an illustrious,
nice word.
An illustrious guest, Sophie Saint Thomas.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, Sophie, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. We loved your show last night. And so just having you here today and on our podcast, it's like we knew who you were before. And I definitely want to give you a chance to explain who that person is. But seeing your art last night was just like so, it was inspiring to us.
Thank you.
We'll talk more about that.
Thank you. That was the first time. Last night I did a burlesque performance. Uh-huh. And it was to David Bowie. And it was also drag king, like gender fuck type play. And I was really excited about it.
Hell yeah, so were we.
So were we.
Well, first off, we get the Instagram message. Liz looks over at me and she goes, "Oh, listen to this."
Oh,
and it was
God. I was just so happy, you know. So we have a mutual contact, you know, and I found you through that contact. She said that you may be open to podcasting, and instantly I was like, oh God, please, 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 because you just finished a book about cannabis.
Yes.
Which we definitely need to get to. But 2 days ago, you found that message in Insta.
I did.
And said,
I'm so glad I saw it, because I can be bad about keeping up with social media messages sometimes.
Oh, yeah,
so
totally.
Yeah,
so
there's
hard.
a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, you know, you just so graciously invited us to your show and said you would come on our podcast. So it's like, yeah, we're going to your show. Let's like see what it's all about. And, you know, it's when you go in with no expectations, you're always like pleased, right? You're always surprised. I was just blown away at the level of detail that you went into your persona. You know, you walked out and I was like, oh, fuck, this is happening, and that's what I love.
When you messaged back, I've been bedazzling a dildo all day. I was like, yeah, we're there.
Yeah, I was. I bedazzled a dildo. I bedazzled a eye patch because I was invoking David Bowie was my inspo, and I bedazzled my my dab torch. I bedazzled and used that to make it look like I was coming fire.
Yes.
So there was lots of bedazzling going on.
And let's cheers to coming fire.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was amazing.
But thank you for coming. That was actually the first time I've officially done that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The first time it was.
Yeah. Well, I am trained in dance, and I haven't. It's been a few months since I've done it because I'm thankful for this, but I've been really busy writing books. But I started last year producing and hosting parties that contained burlesque, and I've been around the scene a lot. And I mean, I respect performers, but personally, I'm not really like a classical burlesque person. I'm more interested in like horror burlesque and like perverted burlesque.
Yeah.
Perverto burlesque.
Yeah.
And this is such a beautiful, beautiful joint.
Thank you.
I know, right?
I didn't want to stop the story, but I definitely wanted to light the fire. So that joint is we deemed that our billionaires joint because it's legit the last joint we have on us at this trip. And we're like, you know what, we're going to make it special. This is the billionaires joint. And so I couldn't think of like a better person to share this joint with.
Thank you. Yeah,
the little pink bear one.
But I've always joked, it's like, remember MTV Made?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And a David Bowie drag king is what I would be if MTV made.
He was like, hey, what do you want to be made?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I would love to see your trainer. You've become the trainer of that kid.
Yeah, I guess I have. Well, I have a friend, Freddie Love. They do a lot more than just Freddie Mercury drag king stuff, but they do a great Freddie Mercury drag king burlesque performance.
I started following him on Insta.
Yeah, and
because of you.
Yeah,
holy fuck.
And
yeah,
I was like, "Where's
that?"
So that. Sorry. Anyways, I got invited to help produce this party, and we're gonna do burlesque, and the woman throwing it was like, I don't know, I'm having trouble finding someone. I was just like, this is my chance. I was like, I'll do it. I volunteer.
Yes. Oh my God. So you just fucking went for it. Like the universe opened the door and you walked through with that giant bedazzled dildo.
Well, at like my own parties, I hire burlesque performers, but there's been a few times when, say, like someone's running late or one of my friends is just like, you should get up there, that I've ended up just doing something just like completely off the cuff though.
Right.
But this was the first time I did it at something that was not my own party, and that I planned ahead of time.
Yeah.
And thought about the outfit and the song.
You were the performer.
And it went a lot better. I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't sure how it would be like in front of the crowd, but I actually found it much
really
easier than just practicing in my apartment.
Yeah.
Like feeding off that energy and being able to interact with people.
100%. Well,
Totally.
we got a fire going on.
Oh yeah, we do. Oh, I have this. I
Do
do. I have it.
Lighter?
Yeah.
Just pour that in there.
Oh, sorry.
Whoa.
Magic.
We're making spells.
Yeah.
This is welcome to the coven.
Do you have the lighter?
We are the Canna Witches. Yeah, here we go.
Can
So
we talk for a second about Bowie and
Yes.
your inspiration? Because you're obviously,
Yes.
I mean, the Bowie cat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I am a creep. I'm a total creep. The day David Bowie died, my phone looked like my mother had died. Like I woke up to like I was like, why do I have 30 text messages? What the fuck happened?
Oh my
yeah.
Yeah. I don't quite know the Bowie thing. I have a very, I think like many people my age, a very vivid memory, a very vivid childhood memory of Jareth, the Goblin King's like giant cock in those pants.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Cut to the cock, please.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut to the cock.
Yeah. And even though I didn't start like actively living in the community and like openly dating all genders, I've like definitely in retrospect always been queer, and I think that has a lot to do with my like attachment to him.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, he was he was the first of that sort of, what does gender
Yeah,
matter?
exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And
I
he would
love that.
play, you would hear about him like fucking Mick Jagger, but then he married a mon, and I was just, and on top of that, I just I loved his music is incredible. So
Yeah.
he meant a lot to me from an early age, and now I am going to talk about witchcraft a little bit.
Yes.
Good. Yes.
And a lot of people like worship their ancestors or like meditate and connect to their ancestors.
Yeah.
And I was about to say, I hope this doesn't sound insane, but I actually don't really care if it does sound insane.
Yeah.
I don't have that relationship with my ancestors, and so I always joke that David Bowie and Freddie Mercury are my two dads. And when I have one of those prayer candles that usually have saints, but it says just like Bowie, and I have another one
Yeah.
that's just Freddie, and
Yeah.
they're on this little altar. And I mean, I love Freddie too, but David Bowie, I don't know.
He's more like your bio dad, and Freddie is your stepdad who came into your
Maybe.
life early on.
or my uncle that's
Yes.
around sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I just I'm loving what you're saying. Loving what you're
But,
saying
like,
because I can see that comes out. That
do you
influence
remember
comes
when
out.
Beyonce said that when she got on stage, she just told herself she was Sasha Fierce?
Yes.
I do that with David Bowie.
Yeah.
Nice.
When I'm about to be on a panel or do what I did last night.
Yeah.
Because Sophie can get really anxious. I'm just like, shut up. You're David Bowie. Like, go rock this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he does mean a lot to me. And
powerful.
I figured for my first burlesque thing, I wanted to do something that I knew and that I was comfortable with and that I knew I could like really get into. So David Bowie was the obvious choice.
Man, well, this is kind of awesome because
Awesome.
we saw your first performance,
You did.
and you are truly our first guest on our podcast.
Really?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
We had an interview one time that really wasn't a podcast,
Uh-huh.
then we've really launched our
That was-
podcast. So you're
Yeah.
our first guest. So this is
Yeah.
I'm honored.
Ah,
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't think of a better first guest.
right.
Thank
Seriously.
you. I'm really honored.
It's like when you are creating your path, you've got your goal, whatever that is. We have our goals for Grow House and for our productions.
Mm-hmm.
When you're thinking about the end result, it's hard to like envision how you get from here to there.
Yes.
And those steps along the way are like, they always exceed our expectations. And it's just like, you know, our first interview was, of course, it was the Bowie cat, Sophie Saint Thomas, world famous David Bowie, medium, you know?
World famous David Bowie
David
medium.
Bowie
That's really funny.
I mean, that's how we know
Will you make me a
you.
Wikipedia page and put that?
We will.
Yes.
We will. Are you kidding me?
She was raised by Freddie Mercury and David Bowie.
Yeah, absolutely. But Freddie Mercury was the stepdad and or the, you know, the older, you know, the funny uncle. There's a really cool just dichotomy there between Freddie and
There is.
David Bowie.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't you have loved to hang out like when they wrote Under Pressure? Like, wouldn't you have just to be a fly
I
on
wonder about that all
wall?
the time. I mean,
Woo!
if dicks weren't sucked, I give up on life.
Oh, hella dicks.
Oh, you can feel it. You don't have to think it because you can feel it.
Yeah. Oh.
The pressure's gone.
Yeah,
when you
dude,
hear
they
that
were
song.
under pressure.
When you hear
Pressure
that, when
in
you
the
hear
pants.
That, oh my god!
And then they're just like dancing and like,
Yeah.
no.
You just get looser and
You know,
looser and
they were like
looser.
doing that, like two singing at the mic, and then they would like hit it right.
Ah.
You know, they were in it.
I hope so. I feel like they
do
were both
too.
people who like believed in taking advantage of life as much as possible.
Yes.
And I respect that about them.
Yes.
Wow, that's
Yes.
the best way I've ever
Yeah.
heard it put.
Yeah. I was at a weird time in my life, as I have often been. Not recently though. No. Back in the dating times, a David Bowie quote really just fucking brought
What
me
was
through.
it?
I don't know where I'm going from here, but I know it won't be boring.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, okay, I don't fucking know, but it's not going to be boring. And actually, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Like, if I can just hang my hopes on, it's going to blow my mind.
Yeah.
I don't need to know how,
Yeah.
That was really a beautiful thing. And,
That is beautiful.
And my daughter, I have a 14-year-old daughter.
Oh.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's like an old soul Pisces.
Is that cool?
Yeah, she's
I like
amazing.
Pisces.
Patrick's dad was a Pisces and his mom's a Libra.
Mm-hmm.
And so he lives with us
Uh-huh.
now. Libra,
then-
Pisces.
Oh, wow.
So it's a beautiful dynamic. It's almost as if he knows how to manage us.
Yeah. Wow,
that weird?
interesting. No, it's not weird.
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
just trying to envision
Capricorns
that.
love
yeah.
a management position.
Yes, they do. But so anyway, back to Bowie. When David Bowie died, Veronica was with me. We have a great, her dad's amazing, and we
Yeah.
co-parent. But she was with me,
Oh, yeah, we've got a great
luckily,
relationship.
and she's been with me, luckily, when tragedies like happen that have been meaningful
I
to
love
me.
that you call that a tragedy because it was.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy. And we got to talk about it. And of course, she goes to Google and she starts to look. And the first, the picture she sees is the, oh my God, the blank, that lightning bolt across the eye.
Oh my
Was that-
God, I
was
have
that-
a kind of not as good story about that, but continue.
That's the first picture she sees. And this is when she was maybe 12, 11. And she was getting to be real surly. And she looks at the picture and she's like, oh, he's hot. And I was like, yes, that makes me so happy because he's so beautiful.
He is.
And androgynous,
Yeah, and I
just
Just so
gorgeous.
so masculine,
and then
so
of course he
feminine,
goes through she goes through pictures of him on. She's like, oh my God. And the kids, oh my God. I mean, it's just like now it's this, he is
Yeah.
this kind of deity-like figure.
And I think he speaks to
You're
like the
welcome.
power of person because
Yeah.
I certainly, actually it's funny. I more like see myself wanting to be David Bowie rather than like fuck him.
Yes.
If that makes sense. But
Yes.
so I mean, I'm high rambling. He
No,
he
you're-
he,
No.
he
Hell
is
yeah, you are.
attractive.
Yeah.
He is attractive.
Yeah.
But also like he's not like a Brad Pitt.
No.
You know what I mean
No.
when it comes to like bone structure and teeth and
Yeah.
everything.
No.
I mean, but he is. I think he's really a testament to how much like your energy and like who you are makes you hot
Yeah.
and attractive because it just like shines through him.
Totally.
You know,
Oh my God.
his whole attitude.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's fucking
No.
big dick energy.
Big dick energy, exactly.
You know, I mean-
fuck whoever David Bowie started big dick energy.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yes.
David Bowie had that big dick
What
energy.
is his name? Pete Davidson.
Oh, Pete Davidson?
Yeah, that's what they started about.
Yeah, did he kind of make that hot?
Just like everyone wants to fuck him, and a lot of people don't understand why.
He's got that big dick energy. Kate Beckinsale knows.
I know.
She knows. And then she was done. Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't know
well,
shit.
He was like 20 years younger.
I love it.
I mean, that's fun.
I love it.
But not everything is supposed to last, and that's not a bad thing.
Right.
Exactly. Like there are phases in your life, and they were a phase. I loved that phase.
Yeah.
I like to think of them fucking sometimes. All the time.
Yeah.
What was it like?
Him. I like him a lot. I like him a lot. He's a Scorpio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so
he's hilarious.
Let's switch gears a little bit. I want to hear about your Cannabis book.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
Book author.
We could geek on Bowie all day.
Oprah's book club. Grow House book club.
That would be awesome, and I think it might.
We will have a book club.
I'm really curious what the reception will be like. It is called Finding Your Higher Self, Your Guide to Cannabis for Self-Care. I have rolling papers with my book on it, which when I got them in the mail made me feel like my dreams came true.
Yes. Oh my God. How fucking cool.
Thank you.
And how do they do like...
Oh, it's just like the packaging, like the flip plate, whatever I'm talking about, the top of it. Yeah, instead of being like raw, it's like Finding Your Higher Self by Sophie Saint Thomas.
Yeah. What is that like? What is that like?
It blew my mind.
Ones that we have.
Oh, fucker! I should have brought you guys some. I'm sorry.
What I want to know, when you open that box and you see that book and you see your name.
I literally screamed. Well, it was funny because I am working with this publisher, Simon & Schuster, and
this little small publisher.
Well,
Simon & Schuster.
I have wanted to write a book for them like my whole life. It is crazy. Like I have to like remind myself because you get caught up in like your everyday life, like and remind myself what I would think like 10 years ago, and to be like extra thankful. But I got a little package from them, which wasn't surprising because I'm also a writer for magazines, and I get sent a lot of books for review. Or it could have been. I assumed it was a book, or a copy of, I don't know, a contract or something, but I just opened it up and like out fell all these rolling papers with my books. I like screamed, screamed, and it was like there was like no note, they were just there.
they're like you know what to do with them.
And then they emailed and they were like, they're for promo purposes, like take them to events and give them to people. And but yeah, that was a moment that I shall remember.
You gotta frame those.
Yeah, so it's mostly filled with different activities to do using cannabis for self-care for body, mind, and spirit. The introduction chapter is for people who might not be familiar, just about terpenes and cannabinoids and the different methods of intake, and
it's so much ground to cover.
The actual foundational
and
stuff.
trying to make it really like tight and tangible.
Right.
Yeah.
And hemp CBD versus. So ideally, someone, if they never use it, could open it and read the first chapter and have an idea of like the kind of cannabis and cannabinoid ratio and form that'd be best for them. And then the rest of them are activities. And
can I pause real quick and just ask a question?
Yeah.
What is the difference between hemp CBD and the every other type of CBD? Because as I understand it, it's like a naturally occurring, it's a natural substance, and you can get it from, lemon zests and tree lichens and things,
So I will say I've interviewed a ton of experts on this for work, and even the experts aren't quite sure, just because it's, as we know with cannabis, unfortunately, federal government, we can't, we still only have like limited ways and very limited money and limited time to study it. So like we just don't know that much. Like I think it's insane that THC and CBD are only 2 of 104 cannabinoids.
Right.
Like in a decade, I imagine that the applications for health benefits of cannabis should expand beyond anything we're aware of right now.
Truly goes back to a real earth.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, like, and also the cool thing about this as a means to get high or like take care of yourself is that it is in other plants. Our body has a natural endocannabinoid system.
Yeah.
You know, there are places everywhere just meant to receive CBD. I prefer CBD if there's a little THC in it. If you go to legal states and you get CBD from, it's hard to say the cannabis plant because hemp is also from what we call marijuana. You can do
The
like
mother plant.
10-to-1 CBD to THC ratio, and I have had certain doctors explain it to me that if the THC is present, it locks to more endocannabinoids in your body, endocannabinoid receptors, excuse me.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it makes the CBD work better that
Enhances.
way.
I need to enhance my endo.
They enhance each other. Almost.
They work better together.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
there's a general consensus that with everything, like the terpenes, everything,
We need to enhance our
the
receptors.
more the merrier when it comes to marijuana, even if you're not using it for psychoactive ways.
Agreed.
I hate to hate on hemp because people can have positive experiences with it, and I know people that it benefits, and I know not everywhere is legal, but like you're not going to get high off hemp CBD because there is no THC there,
Right.
and often because of that you also get like isolate as opposed to like a full spectrum, which also includes like your terpenes and everything, and it helps your body work a little bit better and is just better for you.
Yeah.
And also environmentally, takes like something like 101 like crumped like hemp plants to get the same CBD you could from a marijuana plant. So it's not the most effective environmental friendly way.
Wow.
So like hemp CBD is absolutely there. Also kind of scary though is it's not regulated. So there's been more and more instances of people getting this CBD stuff that you like find at gas stations that ends up containing some nasty stuff.
No. In gas stations in Texas, you can get speed, like lots of different kinds of speed, and then you can get like rhino horn for your penis. But you can't get CBD.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Actually, like really blew our minds.
Changed our perspective on life and answered the question.
Thank you.
You did. Yeah, totally. Like, because there's so much noise in the industry, and we just want to be able to, like, first of all, take the best stuff, introduce the best stuff into our lives, and then talk about it, because we want people to be users, baby.
That's the thing, and that's what whenever I've interviewed about CBD, kind of the takeaway is, well, it's an introduction to people from the cannabis plant, because so many people I know are like, oh, I don't like weed.
Yeah.
And it's because, you know, they smoked too much in a college dorm, like, you know, and got anxious. And and they didn't do it, you know, and now that we know it, there's just...
They did it like animals,
It's
they
like,
did it wrong.
It's like, you know, I also... part of me like resents that response because
me too.
You know that I'm fucking high and you know that I like weed. So do you think I'm like you, bro? It's usually men. I hate to tell you, it's usually men. They're like, you get high before, and I'm just like, oh, you guys, like, how do you think that your brain is like my brain?
I don't know.
Sorry, I'm off that. But you know what I'm saying? It's like you've got to just open your eyes and see that there's so much research out there and recognize that maybe you did it wrong the first time.
And also, there's so many ways to use it. You know, you don't have to smoke a joint. There's suppositories. There's
tampons.
Patches on your back. There's... everyone can use cannabis.
And there's an infinite,
and it's only going to grow.
Yes.
And I'll say one more thing in my book, and then I would love to talk about something else. But it's activities, and sometimes it's like really just fun. It's like why you should go to the dog park, like while you're high, you know. And then sometimes it's very, you know, I go over like how to clean your cannabis tools, how to take like a cannabis bath with this witchy ritual I do, and you know, I teach people how to roll, which is why they give the rolling papers and different types of spliffs. And
genius!
Yeah, and
this is great.
Thank you. And reading it is
we need this book.
I am excited from someone who is like trying to make some money. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like when people are like, "Oh, if only 8 people read my book," I'm like, who pays your rent?
No. We're not looking for 8 people.
I want everyone is going to read this book.
Well, everybody should read it.
Well,
it's going to make your
today
life
we
better.
start shouting from the mountains. Go read
every
it.
sentence is researched. You know, I think people, and which is the biggest thing. I think maybe someone not in like the industry would understand, but I feel and I do this as like a medical, New York isn't legal, but we have medical, and I have a medical card, and I feel pressure to do this sometimes to sort of like justify your use.
Right.
Be like, oh, well, I have to use it every day because I have PTSD.
Right.
And sometimes I'm like, I just want to get high.
Yeah.
Like, it feels good.
Love it.
Yeah.
And so
Entourage effect.
the book kind of is just talking about how there's these health benefits to it, and you can use it every day in these fun ways, and it is medical, even if I don't say that. But you don't have to. I mean, there's not that there's anything wrong with medical use, but we don't. I think maybe especially women, I've felt pressure to justify, in my case, PTSD for the reason I use it so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally feel that.
That's-
So Steve D'Angelo is such an inspiration to all of us, I think, and me especially. He really helped, his writing, Cannabis Manifesto really helped change my perception for the first time about like not judging myself for needing it for medical reasons, but I was so ashamed, so afraid to tell anybody. I was, quiet about it. But his belief is that all use is medicinal.
Yeah.
It's all medicinal.
Totally.
I don't care what your excuse is. This is a plant that grows from the earth. 0 people have died from it. 0 people. So many people have been punished for it. Like, it's all medicinal. And if we can start to think like that, I want to have fun today. I want to fucking get high and watch John Wick 3. I want to do that, and it's going to be amazing. And who is hurting? Nobody is hurting.
No one ever gets hurt. That's what I love. Like, love about it so much compared to other drugs. Like, no one's going to get hurt.
No,
you're not going to be an asshole.
No,
yeah.
No, you're just more open-hearted.
Yeah.
And compassionate.
Yeah. Is this the dance break
It's
portion?
Oh, welcome to the dance break.
Portion.
This is where we go full
These
Bowie.
gummies, and this is where we go full Bowie. This next part of the conversation, we're going to talk a little bit about the sex expert.
Oh.
The sexpert.
Oh, that's what
And I got the cherry gummies because they look like balls.
Nice. They're beautiful balls.
They are. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And they're also a little quiet food that we can munch on. But, Sophie Saint Thomas is a sex expert and a sex writer.
Yes.
For all of the magazines that matter. Right?
That is
GQ,
true.
Playboy, Forbes.
Yeah.
They
I wrote
have a lot
about
of
it.
sex.
I wrote about a cannabis sex party for Forbes. That felt like, I don't know, breaking some rule.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
A cannabis sex party.
Yes.
Oh my God. Where do we begin? Let's talk about this.
Well,
we didn't know those existed.
We talked about that last night.
Yeah, totally. Like we
Which-
just were introduced last night to the cannabis sex party.
Yeah.
But it was also like a business networking thing. So
I don't think we got the full effect.
we didn't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they would
we had
be
a
fine
great
with this
time.
thing. We're talking about, if you don't mind me saying, NSFW,
No, I'd love
which
it.
is the New Society for Wellness, and they
Yes.
are a sex and cannabis club in New York. They have play parties, which means a sex party, but they also have kink demos and cannabis events, and will host plays and then have after parties there. They had a consent con that I got to moderate a panel on, and I think it said a lot about it. That turned into, consent, don't get me wrong, that's like, I was like a survivor and a sex writer. That's like number one, but it's not exactly always like the sexiest topic,
Yeah.
But NSFW, we had consent con, and it turned into the best sex party I've been to afterwards, and it was so awesome. And I mean, these have been, NSFW have been my friend for years, but I remember after that moment, I was like, I trust them.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is they know, like, if you can have a successful conference on consent that segues into a sex party and everyone is having the time of their lives, you know what you're doing when it comes to sex
Now
parties.
that's a conference.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, God. So, you mentioned last night that you've been friends with them for many years.
Yeah.
You all met through the sex industry, or how did you guys meet?
At the time, this was a few years ago. I was on staff at Refinery 29 as their sex writer.
Yes.
And I like sex parties. I had only been to 2 at that point, but I don't really drink anymore. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you could soberly do a sex party. You don't want to be like really fucked up for one, but you want to be like a little buzzed.
You need to be a little loose.
And so I had kind of had
nicely.
this little, like, this feels like a funny expression to use given the topic, but like stick up my butt about like about weed being at sex parties. Because in New York, all the ones I went to, they'd have a little like champagne bar or something, and because I would smoke before, but I'd be like, oh, it'd be so sick if you could like smoke there, or so I just had like cannabis sex parties in my mind. And then I got an email back when they have this giant space in Chelsea at a location we cannot tell you, but they used to just be out of Daniel the founder's apartment in Williamsburg, and was much smaller. And their publicist Melissa Vitale, who's like an amazing person, one of my best friends, and she's a cannabis publicist.
Oh, yes.
She emailed me, and I just remember getting an email, and it was like cannabis sex party, and I was like, I've been waiting for this moment.
Yes.
Like I really,
It's here.
It's happening.
and so I went, and that was around Thanksgiving, I believe, because it was the Danquet, I remember.
Yeah.
No, Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
And I covered it, and for a while we were very much had a professional relationship, and because they really respect their members, I wasn't even allowed to go into the rooms where people were fucking, just because people probably don't want like a journalist
Right.
staring, like writing about them, you know?
Right.
But we just became closer and really good friends. And I think I proved that I was trustworthy enough that I could like step out of my journalist shoes and just attend as a person who isn't going to be writing about people. And so now,
That's so now you guys have like
we're kind of family. I will say no to me.
It's just amazing that we were not connected through Melissa, but we both worked like with Melissa, and she was such an integral part of like our experience here and us being at that party, you know. It's just so amazing that we connected. But it's really cool that what you guys are doing, you guys are building businesses, like getting back to the book. You know, people need to buy the book.
Yeah.
Because this shit's good and this shit's valuable.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this sex club last night that we went to, I mean, I'd never been to a sex club before. Like, I just never been.
Yeah.
It's not that I wasn't trying to go. I mean, I was Googling in Amsterdam. I'm going to be real with you.
Yeah.
I couldn't find shit, and I was kind of on my own. So, I know. I was so depressed. I'm like, I want to go to a sex club, for crying out loud. Like, I know this shit exists.
Yeah.
And so last night was really cool to just, like, see it, and oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Their sex parties are really great because I've actually never been to a big sex club. I get invited to a lot of sex parties in New York, but they're usually out of like a private residence and
Eyes Wide Shut.
There's
Can we
a
go
women
tonight?
and femmes only one that I've been to.
Okay.
And then the other one I went to was a community, a like sex positive community in Bushwick that throws them. So I've been to small ones. What the fuck was I saying about this? Oh, but what I have heard from people, and this
sex
was
party.
part of Daniel's inspiration in making this. One, Daniel is bi, and he felt the gay sex clubs were like really aggressive, so that's why consent is like part of it too. But NSFW, you don't have, speaking as someone who like wasn't allowed to the first couple times, like you can have a really good time and not even have sex because there's rooms for chilling and smoking, you know, or to watch kink demos or to hang out and do this. Whereas apparently the majority of sex clubs, often you just like kind of walk in, it's just like orgy.
That's what I envisioned.
Which maybe some people want, but NSFW, there's like rooms totally that are orgy, but there's also places just to smoke a spliff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There are. It was an awesome experience.
It was certainly a curated room. Like each room had its own feel and effect and you know, even kind of spiritual.
Yeah, we were with
presence. Some of it was dark and then, spooky.
So we brought with us the founder of the Weed Tube, Aaron Richard, and we met him yesterday. And the Weed Tube is, that started because YouTube started shutting down cannabis accounts, and his was shut down at like 120,000 followers. Or subscribers, whatever.
He's a sweetie. He's a sweetie.
He was with us, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna drop this on you right now. So we went to his place because he had dabs. And
I love dabs.
Yes, me too. Maybe we'll go to Aaron's after this. We'll carry the podcast on. Right? I'm like, Aaron, you need to blow us up, please. Because I know you can. And we're looking at different things, so it's fine. But anyway, we went over for dabs. He's getting ready. His cameraman editor finally gets there, Tim. And we'd waited for like an hour at this point. The party had been going for 2 hours, but it's all good. Whatever. We loved it. So we get there all together. But before we got there, Aaron was like, man, you know what? I'm just so fucking glad to be going to a sex club. I'm glad people need to let loose. People need to fucking let loose. Do something. And I was like, yes, I feel you. Like, do something. Like, please. Like,
people do need to let loose.
Yeah. And so we were like high-fiving on that. But when we got to the sex club, that was a different story with Mr. Aaron. It was a little bit like a...
I've seen that happen.
Yeah, this is real now. This just
I've had friends like bug me forever to let me come to one because I'll often get a plus one.
Ready?
Yeah.
And then they come and they're totally freaked out by it.
Yeah.
And just like I don't think people realize that like seeing sex in the wild isn't like watching porn.
Sure. Of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had a few friends. And then maybe this is a lot of people like this who like end up being like, yeah, not for me. Like,
yeah,
you're all right.
Okay, yeah.
but I think you have to be, in all things in life, a little bit careful what you wish for. So like, if you are gonna do it, like, go do it. Like, fifth gear, get in there.
Fucking do it. Just do it. You're not gonna die. I mean, it's like, make sure everything is consensual.
Yeah.
Yes,
and you're staying hydrating.
I've written about this. I have set theory that, I think sex parties are like safer than frat parties because they're so honest. I appreciate their honesty. You go to a party because you want to get laid.
Yeah.
Sex parties just puts that like right on the table.
Yeah.
But so sex parties, it does.
I appreciate that.
That's true.
It evolves the game.
Yeah,
if you think about
at least like in places,
they call dating legal prostitution. I hear my single friends say that all the time. It's just legal prostitution, and which I think is such a horrible outlook on it. But I've heard friends that have said that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like, are they paying their dates?
No. I think what they're implying is it's just a game of, dates, money, dates sharing, and then like opening up.
Well,
dating.
Dating.
Yeah.
Dating.
I actually usually do pretty well. I'm not even gonna lie.
Excuse me, dating you and your girlfriend.
I think you're living.
Oh yeah, we're pretty cute.
Last night it was beautiful.
You pulled her on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. You fucking David Bowie, big dick energy motherfucker.
Yeah. She didn't entirely know I was gonna do. I didn't know I was gonna do that. Yeah.
I mean, you were David Bowie.
I know. I told you
you were.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt. Yeah. And even after the show, I was like, I got your bustier. I was like, yes, I'm going to give this to her. Like, I'm so excited.
Oh, that was so awesome when you came up and brought it to me.
Thank you. And I was just like, yes, she's getting out of character now. I love her. And I have to be cool because I'm in Brooklyn.
It was cool. It
was so
Brooklyn
fun.
Still got it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it very much.
Where are you from? Are you from here?
I am from the Virgin Islands. I am from St. Thomas.
What?
It's not my legal name.
Sophie Saint Thomas.
Very cool.
Even more meaningful than your legal name.
Yeah.
Because it's where you're from, baby.
Yeah, well, when I first moved here, I worked for MTV as a production assistant and then an associate producer. And I still wrote, but it's hard to make money as a writer. It took me like almost a decade to have made enough connections and reputation to do so. And so at the time I still had a day job for Viacom. And it's not as sexy, at least what I was doing. It's a lot of like spreadsheets and making sure people get paid. and
work.
And I was
hoping to get there, Sophie.
And I was writing like this like really perverted shit, and I would.
I know I've read your shit. And I
was like, I don't know how, like, if I'm allowed to be doing this, if I've like how Viacom's like non-compete works, or like what my boss is gonna think of it. And so I remember my vice editor was like, my real name is Sophie, but my vice editor was like, what name should I use? And when my mom moved to Virginia when I was in high school, and I came with her, and there was another Sophie, so people called me Sophie Saint Thomas. And I remember I was really liking it, and I was like, it kind of sounds like a porn star, kind of sounds it sounds a little goth.
Yeah.
And it like feels like me when I see it, but it's different enough that it won't show up in my Google results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it started as, for a while, there was kind of 2 lives.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so
But then it just
awesome.
overtook everything else.
Yeah.
In a really beautiful way. Yeah.
Good.
Cool.
Thank
Good.
you. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, well, I think, we are where we're from, I mean, Texans classically are like,
Texans.
I am from Texas, I should tell you that. Like, they're very open about it across the world.
It's ridiculous, Sophie, and wonderful at the same time.
When you're Texan, it just is this sort of weird identifier.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. But my dad was in the Army. So I'm an Army
she's
brat.
actually down.
So I was born in Italy.
Oh, wow.
And we lived there my first 4 years.
That's lovely.
Vicenza, yes. And then, it's pretty much Texas. My dad retired in Texas. And he retired in a little town outside of Austin. And that's where I met this one.
Oh, wow.
When I was 14 years old in theater class.
Wait, you guys met when you were 14?
Yeah,
I was 13,
we
she
didn't
was
date
14.
though. We are not like high school sweethearts.
When did you
'cause
start
that's-
dating?
How do you do that?
2000.
2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
But you've known each other this whole time?
Sorry,
Sorry, I'm like interviewing you
Oh
now.
no, yeah, please. No,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
we've known each other this whole time. We lost touch when he moved to LA a little bit, like maybe for 5 years. He was in New York and then he was in LA, but he was like my brother, like my deep love bestie,
And we
my
would always,
henchman.
we'd always come together at different integrals,
Yeah.
And I finished this really big project in New York, and
Yeah.
Liz threw me a party.
At my house with my husband. I got married right out of college to Veronica's dad. Shout out.
Chris.
He's awesome.
We
He's
love you,
fucking
Chris.
awesome.
Yeah.
And, just like child bride. But yeah, Patrick just finished his movie and we were at my new house that we just built. Again, why am I picking tiles? I felt like that was way too big for me.
Yeah.
I should not
Yeah.
be picking. But I did, and it was beautiful. And we threw Patrick a party, and after he finished his movie in New York, and it was just like, just through these milestones in life, we would come together no matter what the situation, no matter if I'm married or if I'm divorced or if I'm dating some beefcake. It's always like, where you at? Like, you're mine in my heart, but it was non-sexual. And then when we came together, we'll say 3 years ago in May, it was
Bumped
like,
into her at a swimming hole.
It was-
in Austin.
Really?
Yeah, I moved
Wow.
back to
Yeah.
Austin.
he saw that ass.
Well, I actually saw her from
Behind.
100 yards away. I was 100 yards away. I saw that ass. Zoomed in.
You have
Telescopic
to
sight.
tell the story that way always. That's awesome.
I saw that ass, and I was trapped.
Well, you guys seem very happy.
And I
so
got him. It's
Oh, it's
really.
been,
I'm glad
it's
it
been
worked
amazing.
out.
It's
Yeah.
been amazing.
Yeah.
We've had
It's like it's day to day. No, I'm just kidding. It is. It's amazing. Well, it's my best friend, like first and foremost,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. No,
So
it's-
we're lucky, and I think that energy just like lends itself to this project. That project is our TV show on High Times, Grow House channel. Yay! That's really the only publicly facing thing that's out there, which is very cool. Though that's where we got our start. We're talking to the Weed Tube, and I'm thinking we're probably going to move stuff there.
Yeah.
Because that could be cool to get more
Yeah.
followers in the industry.
YouTube. Okay, I need to check this out.
Yeah, I mean it's a platform, right? And there's, all of the weed people from YouTube went to the Weed Tube, so let's put maybe our podcast there. 420, my dudes.
Yeah.
That's something different. Then we are launching a new series with Green Entrepreneur this summer.
Nice.
So Entrepreneur Magazine. Their Cannabis, their cool Cannabis cousin.
Yeah, I remember when they.
Yeah. So Joe Rogan's on the cover of this month.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So no big deal. Like 1 degree of separation. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't actually give an interview. But anyway, Green Entrepreneur this summer. We gotta, get going on that. And then we are raising money for our TV show.
Ooh.
We're gonna shoot a season.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the TV show is a lot like what we have in High Times, the Cannabis travel. Just the stuff that we do that really interests us, the fun, going to cool places, meeting cool people, but then also making sure that there are always strong elements of like the medical community. The medical community, it's all medical, but you know what, if you need to see a seizure to know that it works, I'll show you a seizure baby. Like, we will do that. Like, that is what the purpose of the show is for.
Yeah.
It's like advocacy. It's really changing hearts and minds. Yeah. Why us? Because we're doing it. Nobody else is.
There's just a big swath of people in America, I think, that need a re-education and sort of a retuning on what this plant is.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously. And I think when they start seeing just the imbalance in all of it, being illegal for so long.
Yeah.
Their concepts will quickly shift, and we're going to get 60-year-old people who have always heard marijuana is a gateway drug, trying it and loving it and
gateway
having
to
another
good sex.
15 years. Yeah.
I know, yeah, absolutely. I mean, but still, like, I fucking work my ass off on so many different things, and I still have people be like very surprised about that because I smoke weed.
Right.
Yeah.
Like assuming that I'm just going to be, sometimes I chill out on my couch, of course, but assuming that I'm just this unproductive like stoner who should be in her mom's like basement.
Right.
And I'm like, I actually probably am more functional than like all your hangovers, So, but you're right. People still have some
deep-seated shit, and I think it's because weed really does like causes you to like internally inspect yourself.
It does.
It just does. And alcohol dulls those senses. I fucking certainly know, just having the career that I've had and just being the person that I am, going out is what I do in a prohibition state and place. What do? You drink. And it just is so fucking, it just dulls you down. You fucking lose yourself. It's like you zombify yourself. Speaking for me and every other fucking person that loves weed too. Weed just kind of like elevates, and sometimes it scares people.
Yeah. I quit drinking just because I have alcoholism like all over my family.
Yeah. And
I went through this really traumatic experience and was drinking in a way that was not healthy. And thankfully, I am very ambitious, and kind of was like, I'm just gonna stop this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was not mainly still, and then I was using cannabis for PTSD. And at the time, things have gotten a little better. I got a lot of shit from anyone who was in a recovery program. Like if you had a problem with alcohol, like there's no way you should be touching cannabis.
Yeah.
But I am completely a different person. Like alcohol made me like just so like sad. Something makes them so angry.
Yes.
And cannabis has the opposite effect on me. And it's been 6 years. I still haven't had a drink. Like, it doesn't make you relapse, or it doesn't make you become use a drug you shouldn't.
Right.
And that was all exactly what people were telling me, that basically it would be a gateway drug. Oh, if you do that, then you'll start doing this drug and this drug, this drug. And
no, that's not true, because that it's a gateway drug is not based in anything more than fucking marketing.
Totally.
That's it, dude. There's science and then there's marketing, and people feel comfortable with the familiar, even if the familiar is abusing them and keeping a medicine from them. Like, I have compassion for people who are still like anti and still questioning, is it a good thing, is it a bad thing, because they have been so heavily marketed to. Like they are denying themselves this happiness, because it's not like, oh, you just light up a joint and be happy. No, fuck that. It's the whole issue. It's CBD, it's THC, and it's also fucking people in jail for a plant. That's
we
not
have
cool.
to,
like, not okay.
no, it's horrible.
Yeah,
it's horrible. I'm gonna burp.
No, do it, girl. Fucking do it.
Let's all just roll.
So we are
Okay.
seriously talking about the shit
Yeah,
that
we gotta
matters.
finish. We are going
We're going deep.
We're
We
going
need to.
I'm going to end with some positivity. We were here for the Cannabis World Congress and Business Expo, the CBDB. I still can't do it. The CB Cannabis. Well, I can't. All right, I tried again. But a lot of positivity around that very issue, and it's looking that it looks like right now this industry is very much open-minded, staying heart-centered, and steering towards that voice and making sure that voice is the primary. A lot of big, corporate influx right now, but I still see that as valued. And it makes me feel positive about the industry.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like, cool, we got to keep wanting it.
Yeah.
Rather than getting bogged down in the terrible shit that it's been. We can help push that agenda along, because these cultures have been broken apart because of the legalization of this.
Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
It's promising. It's nothing to get down about just yet. I think it's headed in the right place.
Yeah, if we don't give up, they can't ignore us forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. And if we, continue to make progress in the way that we have, we just being the cannabis community, just fucking contributing.
Yeah.
And not really crying, about the situation, which would drive any fucking common sense businessman insane and cause them to run for the hills because everything's a fucking risky investment. Like, seriously, chill the fuck out. All right, we're here and we're fucking queer, so deal with it. All right, and that's what we're gonna say right now, because it's true. Like, cannabis isn't going anywhere, and neither are we. And your book is gonna go do a lot for just opening people's minds.
Your excitement makes me very happy. Thank you.
We're biggest fans for sure.
Can't wait to see you again once you're a little bit further down the road. And
Thank you.
Yeah, Sophie Saint Thomas, the household name.
Thank you.
Yeah, at the Bowie Cat. And now you know why.
Cat.
Now the Bowie Cat. Now it's like we know why. It's so good. I love it.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you for having me. This was
much.
wonderful.
Yay, thank you.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Bowie Cat. And keep an eye out for the Veterans issue of High Times. I have an article in there that I worked really hard on, and I'm looking forward to you reading.